Greetings everyone, Monsoon Commando here, and today we're going to talk about the new commander brackets. It's this new thing that Wizards came up with. It's a way to classify decks at different levels or whatever, so people can have a better experience in the game of thinking by thinking even more. There are 5 different brackets: Exhibition, Core, Upgraded, Optimized, and CEDH. Each of them has their own little description, and they escalate in terms of the way the decks interact and how quickly they're able to synergize and pull off big combos to help you win the game. I've seen some people tearing this down, but I wanted to start out by saying, there are some pretty good use cases for this new format, or for this tool, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. For starters, it does provide some fun deck building ideas for making random stuff with your existing collection. So shout out to Gavin Verhey. Hey Verhey, for putting this article together. One of the things that he mentions for Bracket 1 Exhibition is, you throw down your ultra casual commander deck. It's just around a theme like villains yelling in the art, or everything having the number 4, or all horses, whatever. Now, I've been playing Magic and collecting since 2012 when I made the great exit from Yu-Gi-Mon. I got a lot of old cards from the last 13 years, and it would be fun to get the whole gang together to build decks with goofy art or specific mana cost or whatever. Some kind of, I think they call this limited or constructed, whatever. It'd be cool. This can help get some life out of your collection for you people who've been playing longer, so it'll keep you from buying all the new random crap that Wizards likes to throw out every other month of the year. There's also the Game Changers list, which has its faults, and I'll get to that later, but it does help you to gauge some of the interactions in your deck to figure out like what kind of experience you can expect. Some of the cards on the list are like Cyclonic Rift, Force of Will, Thassa's Oracle, stuff like that. These are some cards that if you're running these in your deck and you're playing somebody who's using like a Depala commander, you probably are outclassing them. So you might say, you know what, I'll swap out my deck. I don't know. It might help you to gauge which deck you want to play. Now, for the fun part, here are all the bad use cases for this bracket thing. One of the things that this article points out is that a deck does not have to have any game changers to be a bracket 3 deck, as many decks are more powerful than the pre-constructed deck even without them. What about this combo of massive creature hate? So when Grismold's on the field, he gets bigger every single time tokens die. I've got Ophiomancer, who will generate a 1/1 snake token for me at the beginning of every upkeep if I don't already have one. Grave Pact, which anytime one of my creatures dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. And Illness in the Ranks, which lowers creature tokens by -1/-1, effectively auto-killing my tokens at the beginning of every upkeep, which means that at the beginning of every upkeep, my opponents have to sack a creature. So if you can't put out more than 1 creature per turn, then your creature's dying somewhere between main 1 and end turn. Your board is completely open. And meanwhile, Grismold just keeps getting bigger with 1/1 counters during the upkeep of all my opponents. Would you consider this to be an upgraded deck or an optimized deck? Now, according to their list, it doesn't have any of the game changers at all. It doesn't have any infinite combos, no chaining or extra turns, no mass land denial, but something like that can effectively block people from playing the game because now you can't cast any creature spells unless you have removal or some way to get rid of them. I mean, if he's got boots on him, then oh well, I don't know what to tell you. But my point is, how do you rank this deck? Is it a 3? Is it a 4? Would you consider it optimized? What about Rurik Thar as a commander? It deals 6 damage to anyone who casts a non-creature spell anytime they cast one. 6 damage is 15% of your life total in Commander. That's a maximum of 7 non-creature spells before you die. And if you can't remove it and you can't defend, you're basically dead. How is this not a game changer when it blocks specific brews from even playing the game? Let's look at another example with my Jeleva deck. Now, my Jeleva deck has a Mystical Tutor and an Expropriate. Both of these are considered game changers. However, this deck, and arguably Jeleva in general, was engineered to stack the top of your deck and cast spells for free 99. My deck also has a Time Warp, Temporal Manipulation, Temporal Mastery, and Nexus of Fate. Now they say no chaining extra turns, but what happens if my deck doesn't contain the game changers? Let's say I get rid of all my extra turn spells except for Time Warp. I cast Jeleva on turn 4. Her ability triggers and she exiles a Time Warp from the top of my library. I pass my turn. We go around the table and no one removes her from the board. Turn 5, I go to combat, I swing with Jeleva and use her trigger to cast Time Warp. Then, while it's on the stack, I cast Wild Ricochet from my hand, targeting the Time Warp. That's 2 extra turns on turn 5. Now, is this really that big of a game changer? Just because I chained together 2 cards to net me 2 extra turns? My deck might contain a whole bag of
pathetic cards, Kaiba.
And this is the one time that I pulled this combo off. So is my deck optimized suddenly to be considered a high power commander? Just because I was able to get this one time, I was able to get 2 extra turns. Now granted, have gotten as many as 20 extra turns with Jeleva, so shout out to her. But in this particular scenario, does it fit into group 3? Does it fit into bracket 4? What about extra combat steps? What about extra draw steps? What about commanders that give you extra untaps, extra damage, infinite mana? The list goes on. At some point, you might start asking people, hey, does your deck deal more than X damage per turn? Oh, sorry, I can't play against that. That's
too much, man.
I'm scooping because you have this upgraded, optimized Ninja Gaiden style burst level 7-B deck, and I have the optimized Ninja Gaiden style burst level 7-A deck. Looking back at the brackets again, just to summarize, we have bracket 1, which is your goofy theme decks. 2, I don't know who the hell is going to build a deck at the same quote unquote bracket level as a core pre-constructed deck. Those are typically samplers that do a little bit of everything, and I doubt that you're intentionally researching cards online, buying cards from your LGS, play testing, and sifting through your collection just so that you can create a commander that has a sampler style of strategy that does a little bit of everything. Brackets 3 and 4, upgraded doesn't really make sense to me because if you're trying to upgrade your deck, you're already optimizing it. Lacking cards from the Game Changers list doesn't make it any less optimal. Your strategy just might not require cards like Mystical Tutor and Jessica's Will. And of course, bracket 5 is CEDH, where you can just have fun with your fancy cardboard. Now, if it were up to me, I would redo these brackets so that there are only 3. The first bracket would be, like a theme. It can be a strategic theme of cards that combo with my commander, just random stuff, or an aesthetic, like they said with the card work, mana cost, whatever, as long as there's a theme. Bracket 2, here you're working on optimizing the deck to the fullest. There's really no way to know for sure when your deck is completely optimized because they're always releasing new cards literally every month. If you want to call upgraded, I consider these to be the same thing. And bracket 3, CEDH, hey, enjoy your fancy cardboard. Now granted, this is just a beta and it's also Wizards of the Coast. You don't have to listen to anything these people say outside of a tournament official sanctioned whatever the heck kind of thing. It's just a beta. These ranks and game changers can change in the future. It just seems like there are too many of these conversations around different interactions and additional like little rules and things that you can do to make the game fun or feel good or whatever. Like honestly, when me and my friends play, we just play whatever deck we feel like. And there's obviously an unspoken rule not to attack the guy who's like way behind. Like let's say you're running Liberty Prime and you only got 2 mountains and a plains on turn 8. And no, that wasn't me if that's what you're thinking. It's totally someone else. My point is, if you play the game to have fun and maybe get a win like a normal person, just try to combo off and beat everyone else at the table. That's pretty much it. That's the strategy. All the people concerned with what feels good and all that crap are farming views. My favorite commander to play is Grizzy. He makes tokens, kills them, gets big, falls on people. It's fun. I don't care what commander you want to play. If you have a Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle combo somewhere in that deck and you think that you can pull it off in 2-3 turns, great, good for you. It'd be cool to watch, and that doesn't even guarantee you're going to win just because you're playing CEDH either. I could still beat you. Still 4 people at the table. But my point is, I'm here to have fun. If I enjoy playing in a pod, I stay on. If they're no fun, I dip. Just because someone plays a deck of a similar bracket level doesn't mean they're going to be respectful and considerate while they play. I've had people mock me for not knowing card abilities, point at their cards when I clearly can't see them across the GD table, target me because of personal reasons during the game. The list goes on. At the end of the day, go have fun. After all, this is supposed to be a social format. What do you think is most important? Having fun with people at the table or crying about power levels in a game of printed cardboard? Let me know in the comments below. Peace, y'all.